Okay, please rise for the Pledge of Allegiance. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Moment of silence. Seated.
At this time, we'll ask for citizens' input on agenda items only. Okay, hearing and seeing none. Chairman, would you like to announce the departmental updates?
Yes, we decided a while ago about having departments speaking at each one of these meetings so we can let the citizens know what actually they're doing. The first one for today, department update from Children and Youth. Megan?
All right. First off, April is Child Abuse Prevention Month, and I wanted to kind of give people some ideas on what they can do as community members in Northumberland County to help prevent child abuse from even occurring, because as child welfare professionals, we really believe strongly in child abuse prevention and being a support that prevents child abuse from occurring in the first place. So one thing you can do is develop nurturing and supportive relationships with children that you come into contact in your neighborhood in places that you frequent. You can make it known that you're willing to help families who struggle financially or with having family around to support them, things like offering to babysit, cooking a meal, very simple things really that can make all the difference in preventing a child from experiencing child abuse. You can support workplace policies that, such as paid parental leave, things that would help families thrive. Think about back to when you were raising children yourself, and what are those things that really would have made a just huge difference to you. You can advocate for creating high-quality childcare and high-quality and affordable childcare. Educational programs, so you can be an advocate for good schools in your neighborhood. Another thing that can be done is creating spaces where children can gather and be supervised and have growth experiences, doing arts and crafts, playing games together, learning to work cooperatively, and also creating spaces where families can gather and do some of the same things and have support and possibly receive free or low-cost parenting education. So all simple things that don't require a huge investment of time or money or anything like that, but just ways you can position yourself to help prevent child abuse. My other thing that I wanted to talk about today is, you may ask, what does child abuse look like in Northumberland County? And I have the state report from 2023 because the 2024 report hasn't been compiled yet. But if you were wondering how prevalent child abuse is in Northumberland County, in 2023 we had 538 reports of child abuse that met the legal definition of child abuse, and that would be things like child sexual abuse, physical abuse with a serious bodily injury, creating a reasonable likelihood of a child becoming injured, those types of things. And we had 538 of those types of reports here in Northumberland County in 2023. Of those 538, 95 of them were substantiated, that we found enough evidence that those incidents did actually occur, and we determined that by interviewing alleged perpetrators, interviewing the victims, interviewing neighbors, teachers, etc. Another thing that I thought was interesting is that in Northumberland County, our population under 18 in 2023 was 17,818 children, and that roughly translates to 30.2 reports of abuse for every 1,000 children in Northumberland County. And when we break that down a little further into substantiated reports, that means 5.3 children out of every 1,000 children in Northumberland County was a part of a substantiated report of child abuse. So very concerning, very sobering numbers. One other thing, just how we compare, like if you would break it out regionally, We're quite a bit higher than our neighboring counties as far as rates of substantiation and also our rates of reporting. So reporting is good. I would say that's one thing I'd want to call attention to, is that we get a lot of reports, which is a good thing. It means community members are doing what they're supposed to do as far as when they suspect abuse, and that is the only criteria for reporting, actually, is if you have a suspicion. You don't have to investigate. You don't have to waffle back and forth. Am I really sure? Am I not so sure? If you have a suspicion, you may report. Many of you here are mandated reporters, so you must. May would be must instead. But so that is one positive I'd want to highlight, is that we do get a lot of reports. Now, I also brought one of my coworkers with me today, and she's going to talk a little bit more about what Northumberland County Children and Youth is doing to recognize Child Abuse Prevention Month. So, Melissa.
Good afternoon. My name is Melissa Eisenhower. I've been an employee of Northumberland County Children and Youth for almost 14 years. And I know there's a lot of negativity around our agency about a lot of different things, but I want to talk about some of the positive things that are going on. I know once I surprised Nathan when I spoke to one of his grad school classes about the good things that we do. We do have a lot of preventative services, and I am currently the supervisor of our Family Engagement Center. It's been running about 3 years now, we've decided. I have lots of places for supervised visits. Our independent living kids, we did a great summer program with them last year. Those are kids that are in foster care from ages 14. They can be in independent living until they're 23. Then we kind of are like an extra parent for them through that program. Help them fill out their FAFSA, help them get to college, help them apply for college, take them college visits. We did a walking tour of Sunbury. This is where you go if you need mental health services. This is where you go if you need food stamps, just all around town. Just trying to support them. That's a mission that I personally have, is to kind of really dig into that teen population that we have. I also ran a young moms class over the summer. Had 5 moms that brought their babies. We kind of talked about what's it like to raise them? What do we do when they're crying? Because we had one baby that was really fussy one day, and it was a team effort to help this mom through that. And I'm hoping with education, because I teach all the parenting classes also, that we can maybe cut back on some of these repeat referrals that we get from the same families over and over. I'm very passionate about kids and the community and what I do. I absolutely love it, or I wouldn't be here as long as I'm here. One case in particular that really touched my heart was Annabelle Swangjang, and I talked to her Grammy. She said I can talk about her today. When we met her, she was about 22 months old, had been left in a hot car for 5 hours and was almost dead when they finally found her. She's our miracle. She made it. They thought initially she would just be a vegetable. I think now she's probably going to be a perpetual toddler. But let me tell you, that smile that that child has lights the room up. And we were hoping that she was able to come today, but she couldn't come. They're having van issues, which is another thing we're doing this month. But they couldn't get here today. But Tina, Grandma, has been an amazing support to our agency throughout the whole process, even after she was able to adopt Annabelle. And she has a great home now. She wants for nothing, and she's infectious when you're around her. But that's why we do what we do, to take care of these kids. And I could name so many of them, and I see so many in the community that I've worked with over the years. And it's always pleasant when I get a Facebook message, "Hey, Melissa, you changed my life." And that makes everything that we do well worth it. Well worth it. We appreciate any support that anyone gives us because children and youth, nobody wants that knock on the door. But I kind of took charge of all the Child Abuse Month prevention things this month. The big thing we're working towards is April 22nd at 5:30 p.m. in the parking lot over in the main building, right behind my building. We're going to do a little carnival for the kids. And free. We're working on getting some donations, some monetary, also we're hoping somebody gives us some hot dogs and somebody will give us some burgers. And we're going to do food. We're going to have music. One of the fraternities from Bloomsburg is going to help me again. And they were great, speedy at cleanup, loved it. And they're amazing and very supportive as well. And so we're going to do the carnival, games, prizes, food, free. Also, we're going to try and sell some pinwheels for Annabelle for her van. I haven't quite worked out all the details of that yet, but I'll let you know. But she's in need of a handicap accessible van. She's been in a regular minivan. Graham's been able to carry her in and out of the van. Annabelle's growing. She's 10-ish now. 8, maybe she's 8, I don't know. Regardless, she needs a handicap accessible van. The insurance company will pay to outfit the lift and whatnot, but we have to get the van first. So if we even give her $1, she'll take it. That's another thing. We're going to do a Blue Out Day countywide, just because blue is the color for Child Abuse Prevention Month. And going to accept some money for the carnival for that. I have some pins somewhere. I think they fell. For Child Abuse Awareness Month, if anybody needs one. I have them here. See me afterwards. But is that about it?
That's about it.
Okay.
Thank you, Megan and Melissa. Myself being a former school counselor, dealing with many family situations myself over the years, I know many times I am called Children and Youth to help out with the situations I don't want to get into, but you provide a valuable, important service to the children and the families of this county. It's a very difficult job, as you heard, and you can see if you have this handout, the cases they handle on a day-to-day, 24/7, 365, and with a leap year in there too. Every 4 years, they have their hands full, and I commend you for what you do. It's a very, very difficult job, and please pass my sentiments on to the rest of your staff, because you know it's a tough job, and not many people can do what you do. So thank you.
Just want to say, you know, we meet with Megan often, probably 2 times a month at least, sometimes more than that. And we appreciate all of her employees. We know how hard it is, you know, children and youth, just with the schools, the calls that we get from all the different schools and everything. And it's a very important department that doesn't get much thanks. And, you know, to their employees, to Megan and Melissa and all the supervisors, we really appreciate what you do. I don't think the citizens in the county know all you do, and I think that's why we're going to do this each month, have a department here to let the public know, and hopefully our newspapers, Larry and Francis, put it out. And you know, we haven't done this, but I think this is a good thing, and we just want to thank the department for all they do. Okay, next we have Penn State here today, our Penn State Extension that we work with very often. A lot of things they do in the county, so they're going to let us know.
Absolutely, yeah. So good to see you, commissioners. Good to see everybody here. Got a full house here today. My name's Ethan Howard. I'm a client relationship manager with Penn State Extension. I cover about 7 different counties for Extension. Snyder County is my home, so I consider myself a local type of person here in Northumberland County. But yeah, just today, I'm planning on going through some of what our programs have been doing here locally. If you're not familiar with Penn State Extension, basically what we are is we take the research being done through the land grant system, which has a presence in every state across the country, and we try to improve people's lives with it. So generally it's based around food, but not always, as you'll hear today. I think our strongest tradition with education is helping farmers, but in the last 100 years, we have incredibly diversified in the different program areas as well. So the first thing here I'll go over is what 4-H, which is one of our programs, what they're doing here locally. So if you're not familiar with 4-H, I think when most people think about 4-H, they think about agriculture, right? Showing the pig, showing the cow, showing the chicken. But as time has gone on, we've actually diversified this program to try to make it more accessible to everybody. So if you're not a big animal person, we have other projects here, including healthy living projects, which teach kids nutrition and fitness, STEM projects, which is science, technology, engineering, and math, which is everything from aerospace engineering to robotics to hydroponics. We also do leadership and civil engagement projects, creative arts projects, outdoor adventures like hiking, fishing, wildlife, and environment, and shooting sports. 4-H has really diversified over the years. So here locally, we had 3 teens from Northumberland County attend the 2025 Leadership Conference that was being held up at the Penn Stater Hotel in Center County. That was back in January and February. The teens there learned valuable leadership and citizenship skills. And we were also able to send these kids there through scholarships that we've been able to raise privately here in the county. So that went very well. Also, our educator, Sam Nicola, has been doing a number of after-school programmings with the Central Susquehanna Intermediate Unit. So far this year, we've been able to engage just over 200 youth with those programs, which kind of concentrates more on STEAM, which is the previous mentioned STEM, but with arts also engaged there. Also here, we just did a kickoff program as well for new members, which was actually with Snyder Union in Northumberland. So we try to partner where we can with the local counties, because these are programs that are available in every county. So that's basically the long and short of it with 4-H. Our Master Gardener program, we are currently kicking off a Seed to Supper program with Oasis Recovery Club in Shamokin. If you're not familiar with what Seed to Supper is, it's basically a program where we teach lower income individuals how to raise their food through gardens, grow their food, preserve it, and process it. It's kind of a 2-prong idea where we teach people how to get fresher food in their diets, but also how to save money at the same time. Because a lot of times in this area, in central Pennsylvania, we encounter folks who are low income, but they have a little bit of ground that they can work with, or at least a deck that they could do, raised garden beds or something like that. So we will be doing that in June 2nd to the 6th. And also participants who engage in that will get a free gardening book, seeds, and other gardening resources. So it's a great way to get started. And also, if you were looking here in the local daily item and some of the other local newspapers, we have a Ready for Spring article that our Master Gardeners are writing. We have about 13, I believe, Master Gardeners currently signed up, full-time Master Gardener volunteers here in Northumberland County, and they're all expected to write articles, to help out with public projects. They have to do so many hours of volunteer work, so that's a part of the project as well. So there's other stuff going on with Master Gardeners, but I'll keep it moving. Our local leadership and community vitality educator, Neil Fogel, he's been putting on a number of different webinars and local programs as well. Neil actually travels, he's based here in Northumberland County, but he goes all over the state. So he is a very busy guy. One of his biggest programs he puts on is the grant writing workshop. So if you are a nonprofit or looking to start a nonprofit and you don't know how to secure grants, you can go on our website and happily take one of our webinar programs. It costs us about $100, but it's very in-depth, and I haven't heard anyone complain about it. It's a very great resource. Another exciting thing he's been working on here locally, actually in Sunbury, is the Blueprints community, which, if you're not familiar with what Blueprints community is, it basically tries to get all local leaders involved in a town. Right now we're doing it in Sunbury and Berwick. And we try to get a central narrative about what the community needs and how do we attain that. And generally the idea is to attract private and public capital to help improve the communities. So this is just an ongoing thing at this point. We're still discussing things and trying to figure out where we go from here. But it's been a very helpful program in the past with communities that have completed it, so it's kind of a work in progress. And then our animal systems unit, Emily Fred, she's our dairy educator. She's been putting on a number of different programs. The biggest thing I want to focus with her, so I think a lot of folks have heard about the high-path avian influenza that's going around, how it also has the potentiality to infect dairy cattle. She has been helping a lot of local farms complete biosecurity plans for HPAI. So in case the worst happens, which knock on wood, it doesn't happen, these farms will be prepared and we can limit the damage as much as possible. Generally with dairy cattle, it's not as damaging as with chicken barns and other things like that, but it's still good to be prepared. And last but not least, our local agronomist, Anna Hodgson. She is doing a number of pesticide courses in the local area. She just offered one back in February at our Sunbury office here. And she also just put on a Union County Crops Days where we attracted several farmers from the county to come over, which talks about basically agronomy topics in depth, so corn, soybeans, all the good stuff. And she's also doing a number of pest monitoring projects in the area so we can get the data that we need to keep crop yields high or as high as possible in this area. Pests and other issues with crop management is always a moving target. So this information is incredibly important, and it's all been paid for by grants that she was able to attain through federal and state sources. So it's going very well. So, and that is just the surface. I could go into more stuff, but I want to respect everyone's time. Does anyone have any questions?
I'd just like to say thank you so much, Ethan. You're a great ambassador for the Extension Office, and you're always out there sharing all the great programs that have been going on. Your department does a lot with very little, so there's a lot of all these different programs and all these different people working on behalf of our region. I was involved in 4-H. I feel like it's a great program for our youth and a lot of opportunities there, so thank you for helping to keep all these traditions going, and great, can't wait to see what you do all throughout the year.
Thank you. Glad to help.
Thank you, Ethan. Yeah.
And you also go into schools, correct? You work in the schools also with the Northumberland County School District?
Our educators do,
Yes.
yes.
Okay.
Yep. Yeah, so we recently had a meeting with Milton High School about expanding our 4-H presence there, possibly doing different clubs up there. We're still working on it, but we're always looking to grow the program for sure.
Ethan, a couple things. You're one of the happiest people that comes in here to speak from time to time. You must really love your job and get 8 hours of sleep every night, because you are really a cheerful young man. But anyway, you've helped me over the years, the last few years, with my tomato crop, with those grubs and things, and then
Absolutely.
we did some soil testing. So if anybody has any trouble with their grubs or tomato plants or any kind of plant, there's the guy you want to see right there. He'll get you in the right touch with the right people.
If that's the case, though, Mr. Klebon, Commissioner Klebon should be bringing some of those tomatoes in to share with the rest of the residents of Northumberland County,
We make
correct?
sauce, and you've gotten some sauce, which you commented it wasn't sweet enough, and that was the last jar of sauce my wife gave you after that comment. That's a true story.
All right,
There's a learning curve there for sure,
Thanks, Ethan.
of course.
Nathan?
A motion is needed to approve and dispense with the reading of the Commissioners' public meeting minutes of Tuesday, March 4th, 2025.
So moved.
Seconded.
On the question, all in favor state aye.
Aye.
Aye, motion carries.
Motion is needed to pay all county and liquid fuels payrolls as submitted by the Human Resource Office for payroll number 6 in the amount of $778,383.42 and payroll number 7 in the amount of $745,258.62.
So moved.
On the question, all in favor state aye.
Aye.
Aye, motion carries.
Motion is needed to pay all county and liquid fuels bills as submitted by the county controller in the amount of $7,175,488.79 from March 1st, 2025 to March 28th, 2025.
So moved.
On the question, all in favor state aye.
Aye.
Aye, motion carries.
Under announcements, a work session will be held on Tuesday, April 15th, 2025, beginning at 10 a.m. in the Commissioners' Conference Room. The next regular public meeting will be held on Tuesday, May 6, 2025, at 1 p.m. at the Administration Center, 399 Stadium Drive, Sunbury, PA. The Prison Board meeting will be held on Wednesday, April 2nd, 2025, at 11 a.m. at the Administration Center, located at 399 Stadium Drive in Sunbury. The Northumberland County Courthouse, Administration Center, and related county facilities will be closed Friday, April 18, 2025, in observance of Good Friday. The first public hearing and project development workshop for the FFY 2025 Community Development Block Grant CDBG program will be held Tuesday, April 22, 2025, at 6:30 p.m. in the Northumberland County Administration Building in the Public Meeting Room at 399 Stadium Drive in Sunbury. Acknowledging receipt of correspondence from the Northumberland-Montour Joint Airport Authority that Montour County Representative Elliot Peeling was replaced by Jonathan Swindon of Montour County for the remainder of his term through 12/31/2025. Motion is needed for the chairperson to sign a state tax equalization voucher for transfers of real estate for the month of February 2025 as submitted by the Assessment Office.
So moved.
On the question, all in favor state aye.
Aye.
Motion carries.
Motion is needed to approve the employee status sheet of new hires, individuals no longer employed, promotions, demotions, and transfers as item number 1 through 31.
So moved.
On the question, all in favor state aye.
Aye.
Motion carries.
Motion is needed to approve the following reports. This includes the coal royalty reports as submitted by the county engineer, the reports from the Tax Claims Bureau, and the monthly fiscal status reports for the month of February 2025 as submitted by the Weatherization Department.
So moved.
On the question, all in favor state aye.
Aye.
Motion carries.
A motion is needed to authorize the Northumberland County Commissioners to sign a letter approving the allocation of $599,474.88 from the RACP funds against the principal for the GO note Series A of 2021 as of 4/1/2025, and this is a ratification.
So moved.
Seconded.
On the question, all in favor state aye.
Aye.
Motion carries.
Motion is needed to appoint Michael Herbert as the replacement for Edna Reinerd's term on the Local Emergency Planning Committee, LEPSI, with a one-year term beginning January 1st, 2025 and ending December 31st, 2025, or until a replacement is appointed, whichever shall come later, and this is a ratification.
So moved.
On the question, all in favor state aye.
Aye.
Motion carries.
A motion is needed to approve the Northumberland County Behavioral Health and Intellectual Disability Services to purchase through CoStar's program 2 2025 Kia Carnivals from Sunbury Motors at a combined cost of $95,000.
So moved.
Seconded.
On the question, all in favor state aye.
Aye.
Motion carries.
Motion is needed to amend Sections 809 Preventative Remedies, 811 Enforcement Remedies, and 902 Specific Terms of the Northumberland County Subdivision and Land Development Ordinance, also known as SALDO.
So moved.
Seconded.
On the question, all in favor state aye.
Aye.
Motion carries.
Motion is needed to amend Article 2 Definitions, Sections 601 Fees and Expenses, 803 Enforcement, 805 Penalties, and Appendix A of the Northumberland County Stormwater Management Ordinance, also known as SWMO.
So moved.
Seconded.
On the question, all in favor state aye.
Aye.
Motion carries.
Motion is needed authorizing travel requests and attendance at the following workshop seminars as in accordance with the County Personnel Manual Travel Reimbursement Policy. These include assessment, sheriff, and treasurer.
So moved.
On the question, all in favor state aye.
Aye.
Motion carries.
A motion is needed to award the general contractor to the following companies: Moore Renovations LLC of Ranshaw, Green Kite Inc. of Gratz, and FTQ Services LLC of Schmoken on behalf of the Weatherization Department.
So moved.
Seconded.
On the question, all in favor state aye.
Aye.
Motion carries.
Motion is needed to award the Energy Auditor QCI Inspector to the following companies: Boyer QCI LLC of Likens, Green Kite Inc. of Gratz, and Moore Renovations LLC of Ranshaw on behalf of the Weatherization Department.
So moved.
Seconded.
On the question, all in favor state aye.
Aye.
Motion carries.
Motion is needed to authorize the chairperson to execute the professional services agreement with D.H. Ross Elevator Inspections, Inc., Coburn, for elevators within the following county-owned buildings: 07552 Northumberland County Annex, 39668 Northumberland County Courthouse, 44473 Northumberland County Administration Center, and 38650 Northumberland County Career Center. This is a ratification.
So moved.
On the question, all in favor state aye.
Aye.
Motion carries.
Motion is needed to award the bid for the bridge replacement of County Bridge Number 150 on T672 Lewis Township to Kevin E. Raker Construction LLC of Sunbury as the lowest qualified bidder of $413,162.41 as recommended by Wilson Consulting Group, Inc. and County Engineer Charles Hopta Jr. This is a ratification.
So moved.
On the question, all in favor state aye.
Aye.
Motion carries.
Motion is needed to authorize Engineer Charles Hopta Jr. to execute a contract with Wilson Consulting Group to provide engineering services pertaining to the partial superstructure replacement of Northumberland County Bridge number 38 T-538 over Little Schmoken Creek at a cost of $23,390. This is a ratification.
So moved.
Seconded.
On the question, all in favor state aye.
Aye.
Motion carries.
Motion is needed to authorize the chairperson to execute the easement and right-of-way agreement between William L. Bittner Jr. and Northumberland County for a temporary construction easement for the staging of equipment and materials for the repair of the superstructure bridge T-308 crossing Chillisquaque Creek, and this is ratification.
So moved.
On the question, all in favor state aye.
Aye.
Motion carries.
A motion is needed to amend policy number EC-4.025, time and attendance, non-exempt hourly employees of the Northumberland County Personnel Policy Manual, effective 3/10/2025, and this would be a ratification.
So moved.
On the question, all in favor state aye.
Aye.
Motion carries.
A motion is needed to approve the following proclamations, certificates of appreciation, and certificates of recognition. And there are 4 this month. The first is April as National Child Abuse Prevention Month, April as Sexual Assault Awareness Month, National Volunteer Week being designated in April 20th to 26th, 2025, and April as Pennsylvania 811 Safe Digging Month.
So moved.
Seconded.
Been properly moved and seconded.
Yes, I'm on the question. I'm looking at these to read right now. I think we're going to move them to the end of the meeting to read them. There's pretty long there's 4 there. So we'll pass these proclamations and then we'll read them all at the end.
have a speaker for one of them, though.
Oh, we do have a speaker? Well, let's hold off till the end and we'll do that. Okay, so those 4 proclamations will be read at the end of before the meeting's over, but at the end. Okay, all in favor state aye.
Aye.
Motion carries.
A motion is needed to authorize the commissioners to execute an indemnity agreement for court-ordered community service programs on behalf of the District Attorney's Office with the following municipalities: the City of Schmoken and Cole Township.
So moved.
On the question, all in favor state aye.
Aye.
Motion carries.
Motion is needed to authorize a settlement of the property tax bill captioned as Haganus? Is that pronounced? Higgins Corp. versus Northumberland Co. et al. Number CV-21-1733, establishing the fair market value of the Northumberland County tax parcel 021-00-044-B, municipally addressed 4330 Paradise Road, Watsontown, PA, of $2.1 million, and adjusting the assessed value for each year of the appeal accordingly.
So moved.
Seconded.
On the question, all in favor state aye.
Aye.
Motion carries.
A motion is needed to authorize the chairperson to execute the amendment to the lease agreement between lessee Northumberland County and lessor George F. Emmerman for certain real property municipally addressed 911 Greeno Street, Sunbury, on behalf of 911 Public Safety Department for the period April 1st, 2025 to March 31st, 2027, and this is a ratification.
So moved.
On the question, all in favor state aye.
Aye.
Motion carries.
Motion is needed to authorize for the commissioners to execute the contract for structure replacement of County Bridge number 150 T-672 Hill Road in Lewis Township with Kevin E. Raker Construction LLC of Sunbury.
So moved.
On the question, All in favor, state aye.
Aye.
Motion carries.
Motion is needed to approve an amendment to option agreement between Citus Celotex LLC and the County of Northumberland, extending the option period, granting additional options, and amending the option payment and purchase price of the subject purchase parcels.
So moved.
Is that written up right? Supposed to be not to extend it, correct?
I think.
Yep. Yep, okay, we're gonna, what do we call this? Frank, what do we officially call this?
Recess.
A recess. Give us 5 minutes.
Recess.
Okay, so that was a short, I don't know how many minute executive session for discussion on real estate. So we have a motion. So we do not have a second. So therefore, we're going to table this motion to, till the next meeting to look into it further. Okay? Okay, Nathan? We don't have to, do we have to vote to table it? Nope, okay. Go ahead.
A motion is needed to appoint Emmanuel Giorgini as the replacement for Carmine Picarelli's term on the Children and Youth Advisory Board effective 1/1/2025 to 12/31/2026, and this is a ratification.
So moved.
On the question, all in favor state aye.
Aye.
Motion carries.
Motion is needed to authorize the Commissioners to execute the Juvenile Probation Services Program Grant Agreement, FFY 2024 to 2025, for $151,537 on behalf of juvenile probation.
So moved.
On the question, all in favor state aye.
Aye.
Motion carries.
Motion is needed approving the grant applications with PA Department of Community and Economic Development, DCED, for the following programs from the Department of Energy, DOE Fund, and the Low Income Home Energy Assistance Program, also known as LIHEAP Fund, on behalf of weatherization for the FFY 2025-2026.
So moved.
On the question, all in favor state aye.
Aye.
Motion carries.
Motion is needed to give permission to advertise an ordinance on behalf of the Tax Claims Bureau pertaining to Act Number 48 of 2024, which amends the real estate tax sale law to include a county demolition and rehabilitation fund and update the title of the act.
So moved.
On the question, all in favor state aye.
Aye.
Motion carries. Solicitors report, Mr. Garrigan.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. Motion to adopt Resolution R08-25, Agreements, Amendments, Revisions, Grants, Leases, and Reports between the Northumberland County Commissioners on behalf of the Human, Senior, and Social Services and the named service providers as listed, numbers 1 through 5. The above agreements, amendments, revisions, grants, leases, and reports are not with county employees, nor does their organizational contract list county employees as principals in their corporation or on their board of directors, with the exception of contracts with CSO, as Controller Grayson is a member of the CSO board.
So moved.
On the question, all in favor state aye.
Aye.
Motion carries. Okay, before we get into old business, we're going to go back to the proclamations.
Okay, so
The first one, April, as a National Child Abuse Prevention Month. Nathan?
whereas prevention is possible with the right policies and investments, families and children can thrive and avoid contact with child welfare and other costly systems, and whereas the early experience of a child impact them throughout life, both positively and negatively, And whereas every family and child is filled with tremendous promise, and we all have a collective responsibility to prevent adverse childhood experiences, foster the potential of every child, and promote positive childhood experiences. And whereas positive childhood experiences such as loving caregivers and safe, stable, nurturing relationships play a vital role in helping children thrive by mitigating trauma and the negative impact of adverse childhood experiences. And whereas families who receive the support they need before a crisis occurs are better equipped to provide safe, healthy, and nurturing environments, leading to children who are safer, healthier, and more hopeful about their futures. And whereas childhood trauma, including abuse and neglect, can have long-term psychological, emotional, and physical effects throughout an individual's lifetime and impact future generations. And whereas primary prevention of child abuse and neglect can reduce the lifetime economic burden associated with child maltreatment, and strengthening families through access to concrete economic, social, and community-based support reduces the likelihood of abuse and neglect and ensures children have the foundation for lifelong well-being. And whereas effective child abuse prevention activities succeed because of the partnerships created between child welfare professionals, education specialists, health, community, and faith-based organizations, businesses, law enforcement agencies, and families. And whereas communities must make every effort to promote programs and activities that create strong and thriving children and families. And whereas we acknowledge that we must work together as a community to increase awareness about child abuse and contribute to promoting the social and emotional well-being of children and families in a safe, stable, and nurturing environment. And whereas investments in prevention initiatives such as home visiting programs, family strengthening policies, economic support, and community-based child abuse prevention efforts are essential to building safer, healthier communities for children and families. And whereas prevention remains the best defense for our children and families. Now therefore, Northumberland County Commissioners hereby proclaim April 2025 as Child Abuse Prevention Month in Northumberland County, Pennsylvania, and urge all citizens to recognize this month by dedicating ourselves to the task of improving the quality of life for all children and families. Together, we can create a state and county where every child can grow up happy, healthy, and safe with hope for their futures. Signed unanimously by the board.
So who does this go to, Megan? Or?
Yes.
Megan? Just present.
The next in the list is April as Sexual Assault Awareness Month. Whereas April is Sexual Assault Awareness Month and calls attention to the fact that sexual violence is widespread and impacts every person in Northumberland County. Whereas every day women, men, and children across Pennsylvania suffer the pain and trauma of assault upon survivors and our other 67 county communities. Whereas this crime occurs far too frequently, goes unreported far too often, and leaves long-lasting physical and emotional scars. Whereas during Assault Awareness Month, we recommit ourselves to lifting the veil of secrecy and shame surrounding sexual violence, expanding support for its victims, and strengthening our responses. Whereas sexual violence affects individuals of all ages, backgrounds, and circumstances, and as a community, we share the responsibility for protecting each other from assault, supporting victims when it does occur, and bringing perpetrators to justice. Whereas at every level, we must work to provide necessary resources to victims of every circumstance, including medical attention, mental health services, relocation, housing assistance, and advocacy during the criminal justice process. And whereas 67 counties can come together to increase awareness about sexual violence, decrease its frequency, hold offenders accountable, support victims, and heal lives. Now therefore be it resolved that the Northumberland County Board of Commissioners does hereby proclaim the month of April 2025 as Sexual Assault Awareness Month. And we, the undersigned, proclaim that now is the time to take action as leaders in our community to create safe environments, including our youth and our educational institutions. We must work together to educate members of the community about violence prevention, support survivors, and speak out against harmful attitudes and actions. We join advocates in communities across the country in playing an active role in preventing sexual violence. And we publicly proclaim April to be Sexual Assault Awareness Month and recognize that each day of the year is an opportunity to create change and safety for the future. Signed unanimously.
Someone here for this?
I'm not sure.
Is there anyone here to get this? We'll stay afterwards. Show.
Okay.
The next one, the National Volunteer Week. Nathan?
Whereas more than 30 years ago, Congress established AmeriCorps, formerly the Corporation for National and Community Service, to unite national service programs under one agency, create service opportunities that strengthen communities, and expand pathways to education, careers, and civic participation for those who serve. And whereas AmeriCorps seniors programs provide opportunities for 143,000 Americans annually to serve their country through service at nonprofits, schools, public agencies, and community and faith-based organizations across the country. Whereas AmeriCorps seniors participants, specifically RSVP in 5 counties, including Northumberland County, sponsored by Diacon Community Services, address the most pressing challenges facing our communities. More than 70 AmeriCorps seniors, volunteers, and advisory council members of diverse ages and backgrounds help to meet local needs at 27 locations in the 5 counties area by the following: maintaining parks, gardens, natural areas, assisting with education, supporting libraries and heritage museums, the Veterans Affairs Office, food distribution, and other local opportunities. And whereas AmeriCorps is America's smart investment in local communities, where public dollars leverage private contributions to support locally led, data-driven solutions to urgent needs. And whereas AmeriCorps programs strengthen bridge-building skills by bringing people together from different backgrounds, generations, and geographic locations to address critical issues facing the country, forge relationships, cultivate mutual respect, and help build resilient and thriving communities. And whereas volunteers improve the mental well-being of AmeriCorps volunteers, and their commitment to service reflects the dedication and patriotism of those who serve. And whereas through their service, AmeriCorps seniors volunteers improves the lives of their families, strengthen communities, and foster civic engagement in a 5-county area, including Northumberland. And whereas national service represents a unique public-private partnership that invests in community solutions and leverages non-federal resources to strengthen community impact and increase the return on taxpayer dollars. And whereas National Volunteer Week is an opportunity to recognize the dedication and commitment of the AmeriCorps members and volunteers who serve each year, the nearly 1.3 million AmeriCorps alumni, and millions of AmeriCorps seniors volunteers and their community partners, as well to encourage more Americans to follow their footsteps in service. Therefore, be it resolved that the Commissioners of Northumberland County do hereby designate April 20th through the 26th, 2025 as National Volunteer Week in Northumberland County and urge citizens to thank AmeriCorps senior volunteers for their service and find their own ways to give back to communities. Signed unanimously.
And we have a speaker here for this one, right? Someone? Yeah.
Thank you for this opportunity to speak on behalf of my program. I'm Janelle Longacre, Program Coordinator for AmeriCorps Seniors, Retired and Senior Volunteer Program, or RSVP. I am sponsored by Diacon Community Services. In recognition of this proclamation for AmeriCorps Seniors volunteers for National Volunteer Week, I would like to celebrate the critical contributions made by my constituents. In attendance with me today is Andrea Cumpston, who joined RSVP 11 months ago and has donated 31 hours of her time to assist with riparian buffer zones. I would also like to highlight the scheduled Environmental Education Earth Day event for this year for the high school environmental science classes at Shamokin, Lourdes, and Mount Carmel. Andrea has agreed to give a presentation on riparian buffers and planting trees with the students. Last year, more than 8,500 AmeriCorps senior volunteers served in nearly 1,000 locations across Pennsylvania, including the 70 members serving between Clinton, Lycoming, Union, Snyder, and Northumberland counties. My program is currently partnered with 27 nonprofit agencies in this territory, with over 3,542 volunteer hours to date, including the 1,471 hours served just last year. AmeriCorps Seniors RSVP volunteers are active adults 55 years old and better, focused on environmental stewardship projects that positively impact our communities, ecosystems, service members, and partner agencies. These members and volunteers are essential to our state's economic and social well-being. RSVP volunteers play a vital role in maintaining and improving state and natural parks, trail maintenance, and stream health to ensure they remain open and accessible for recreation and tourism. In addition, they also assist private landowners. Volunteers maintain these healthy ecosystems through invasive species removal and responsible land management while promoting long-term resilience. Environmental stewardship ensures the future generations can benefit from a healthy and productive environment. I am grateful for the dedication and service of my constituents who are helping make our state safer, stronger, and healthier. AmeriCorps Seniors RSVP is a shining example of how a modest investment can deliver a powerful return for those who serve and for our communities. Thank you to the volunteers who have answered the call to serve and to many more that will serve in the years to come. Thank you.
Thank you, Janelle. Volunteers, volunteerism, that's the, I believe, strongly believe, the backbone of our society. And without volunteers, we'd be really lacking in many needed areas. And I think correct me if I'm wrong here, but everybody sitting over here, I think, is a volunteer. The men and women over here, I believe all the firefighters and everyone else. So thank you for your service. My hat's off to y'all. Thank you.
The last one recognizes Safe Digging Month. So whereas the month of April 2025 recognized as Pennsylvania 811 Safe Digging Month, and the initiative sponsored by Pennsylvania 811, a utility notification information center with 53 years of continuous service to the Commonwealth of Pennsylvania. And whereas Pennsylvania 811 received 1 million excavation notifications in 2024, over 3,000 construction projects in Coordinate PA, and transmitted approximately 6 million notifications to their member facility owners and operators, allowing essential utility and construction crews to provide vital underground services and repair of critical infrastructure to communities throughout Pennsylvania. And whereas when contacting 811 at least three business days before digging, a homeowner or contractor is connected to a unique service that notifies the appropriate underground utility operators within the municipality in which the work will be performed. And whereas by notifying 811 of their intent to dig, the homeowner or contractor is knowingly helping to protect the underground utilities themselves, the work crew, and their neighbors from any unsafe digging practices within their community. And whereas upon receiving the notification from Pennsylvania 811, the facility owners and operators dispersed the said work site to mark the approximate locations of their underground utility lines with flags, paint, or both to establish an 18-inch tolerance zone of the outside wall or edge of their line or facility. Now therefore be it resolved that Northumberland County, in support of the Pennsylvania Underground Utility Line Protection Law, PA Act 287 of 1974, as amended, hereby proclaim April 2025 as 811 Safe Digging Month and encourage all Pennsylvanians to visit Pennsylvania 811 website at www.pa1call.org for information about digging safely.
I didn't see any backhoes outside, so I guess we don't have anyone to accept this. But if all the people with the proclamations would stay till the meeting's over, we at least have Larry to take a picture. I don't know where Francis got to.
It was lunchtime, I think, for Francis. You know, let me say one thing about this digging stuff. You might think it's menial or whatever, that's no big deal, but I remember, and Sam will remember this, an incident that happened in the west end of Shamokin, out in Cole Township, by the elementary school. There was a guy operating a backhoe, and he obviously didn't check the what was beneath the surface of the ground, and he was digging, and he hit a major gas line that was running from, I believe, the Gulf of Mexico to Buffalo. I believe that was it. But he hit it, and the gas was shooting up like a geyser, and that was a pretty serious situation, especially with the elementary school right nearby. Thankfully, nobody got hurt and nothing exploded. But every time I hear this, I think about that incident that happened. I don't know, remember that, Sam?
Yeah, I remember this.
You were probably teaching at the elementary school or whatever, but so it's not to be taken lightly, this digging stuff, you know. I'm done.
Sure.
Yeah. That's just a story that
Yeah, that's true. That happened. You're right. Okay. So we have old business. Anyone? New business? Public input? Good. Just state your name and read what you have.
Good afternoon, and thank you for the opportunity to be heard today. My name is Douglas Funk, and I'm the fire chief of the Warrior Run Area Fire Department. We serve 5 municipalities in Upper Northumberland County, responding to approximately 3,000 fire and EMS calls per year. Since 1978, we have been dispatched from the Union County Communications System, now CSR 911. May I begin my thoughts with a simple comment? Here we go again. It has come to our attention that Northumberland County is again looking to modify its communications system and again potentially taking the northern end of the county with them. this time by partnering with Schuylkill County. A quick look at any map shows why we are and need to remain dispatched by CSR 911. That is the most logical location both geographically and operationally. My primary mutual aid is from Union County units, as they are by far closer than any Northumberland County units, with the exception of Milton. We also rely on mutual aid from Lycoming County and Montour County units. If money is the primary driver, we as the field users and emergency service providers believe that we can find other options that could save as much, if not more, than any partnership with Schuylkill County, while enhancing the interoperability of regional emergency services. We as the providers depend on communications as a lifeline at times where seconds count, and any interference in that interoperability puts lives and property at risk, especially ours. The information we have comes from multiple reliable sources at both the state and local levels. Until very recently, we have heard nothing from the commissioners. Why would you even consider a change in communication systems without first contacting those who are most impacted by your decisions? We consistently hear from you that the emergency service providers in Northumberland County are an incredible asset to the county. If that is the case, why not discuss with us up front any thoughts or plans you have to modifying our existing communications? I've been a line officer with our department since 1986. I know that this is the fourth time since 1992 that Northumberland County has looked into modifying their communication system. I know that it has cost the county a significant amount of money on studies and ideas. I leave with two questions. What do you hope to gain through a partnership with Schuylkill County that you could not gain elsewhere? And do you intend to force the northern end to become part of your new system? If so, we oppose the idea.
I'm going to answer those questions. Okay, first of all, you didn't bring up that we did a study 3 or 4 years ago to join with CSR, which did occur. Nobody showed up at a meeting at that time, but CSR didn't want us at that time. They wouldn't let us join with them, even though Joe and myself did, okay? You also did not bring up that we're also doing a study with Montour and Columbia County. It was only Schuylkill County mentioned. Let me first tell you, there's nothing to discuss because the study in Montour and Columbia just started last week, and the Schuylkill County study didn't even officially start yet. So yes, we will get to the people, but there's nothing to say except that the studies are being done. Now, the reason they're being done is PEMA's paying for them. We met with PEMA a few times already. They're paying for the studies. And there's a lot of reasons why we have to do the studies. One of them is our building that we have that we just today signed the lease for 2 years, and it's for sale. We could get thrown out, asked to leave, or in 2 years, we don't know what's going to happen with that. So we need to find another place. But those are some of the questions, and I'm not going to get into everything with you, but those are some of the questions that I'd like to answer now. There's nothing to discuss because when the studies come back, sure, you're going to be involved. And yes, if it's best for the northern end to stay up there, I have no problem with them staying up there. But if it's not part of Northumberland County, you might end up staying up there with some other regional group that will now decide everything that you do, and it won't be Northumberland County anymore deciding that. Okay, next, anyone?
Hello, my name is Dennis Crow. I'm the fire chief at Elysburg Fire Company. Just like Doug said, thank you for allowing us this time, and I'd like to thank all the volunteers that are here with me. So I'd like to go over a couple things from the Lower Northumberland County Fire Chiefs Association. We've met and have some bullet points. First of all, I'd like to say that, as Chief Funk said, there's been a lot of information that's been sent to us or given to us through various sources, if you will. And one of them was that the Northumberland County Fire Chiefs were all in favor of a merger with Schuylkill County, and that is not true. We are not in favor of a merger with Schuylkill County, and I'll go down some more bullet points. As Commissioner Shigitani, you just mentioned, we are aware that there are feasibility studies being done or being paid for by PEMA with Northumberland County, CSR, and East Central, and also the one with Northumberland and Schuylkill. I'll assume that those reports aren't available for us to view yet or see.
Available till the end of the year.
Okay, understand. We also understand there's been talk about a 6-county merger. I do not recall all the counties, but again, why are we not involved anymore in the 6-county 911 merger meetings? That is our understanding that the core, so the CAD core will be shared with Clinton County. This is a merger that will be at zero cost to Northumberland County to upgrade and share. Remember, the 6-county merger is only hardware that's shared, and each 911 center is a standalone center. The potential to eliminate and share tower sites will reduce the rental costs, and I think Chief Funk mentioned that a little bit. Any updates that are needed to the radio system will be covered by the grant. This is the 6-county merger, and they're talking of potential savings to Northumberland County of over $600,000. And it's also our understanding that Northumberland County has pulled themselves out of those talks of the 6-county merger. The Schuylkill County merger, again, the local chiefs are not in favor of that. We understand that we will lose all of our fine dispatchers that we have now in our 911 center. That will go away. Everything will be moved to Schuylkill County. The current CAD that we have, as we all know, in the emergency services world is shared with Snyder and Union, as you mentioned. They're our backup. We go to Schuylkill County, we have no backup. There's no backup on the CAD. My last couple comments is the cost impact, and that goes down to the field users. Not too long ago, 6 years ago, each municipality had to spend a lot of money to upgrade radios to get onto the new system, new P25 system. I will say, from my point of view, it is a fantastic system and it works very well. We can talk portable to portable all across the county. Chief Tim Coe from Cole Township, we've talked from his cabin in Union County to where I work over in Riverside, so we've been around a lot. Currently, we estimate over $3 million have been spent by the local municipalities and fire departments to convert to the current system. If you're not aware, there's probably over 2,600 users on our system, from police officers to volunteer firemen. And our questions and our big concerns are who's going to pay for those. Volunteer fire companies, the municipalities. My brothers here from Lower Augusta, we were just informed last night that they just finally paid off their loan to convert to the radio system that we're currently using, and now we're talking about potentially going to another one. Also understand that in July of this year that East Central 911, so that's Columbia Montour, will be also sharing the same CAD as CSR and Northumberland County. So in my opinion, or our opinion, the merger that makes sense is the merger between East Central, CSR, and Northumberland County. That just seems to be obvious. As Chief Funk mentioned, there's so many different variables. We work within the counties on a daily basis. And my last comment is just in conclusion, and again, I thank all the volunteers that are here, and it's ironic that we had a volunteer month proclamation that just came out, but you know, it's a shame that we have to do all this investigation and get here and get in front of you folks because we're not being informed and we're getting information from other sources that cause great concern for us to be here. So,
Can I talk?
Absolutely.
Let me just first say, I don't think all the sources you're getting the information from are telling you the truth, first of all. Second of all, there was no reason to meet with anyone because we don't have nothing to bring except that we're doing a study with Columbia, Montour, and Schuylkill. There's nothing else to say until the study comes back. And yes, we have intention to having everybody involved at that time. The third thing is that I'd like to bring up which county in this regionalization that you talked about, there's 6 counties. Do you know which county was at it last?
Sir?
Northumberland County. They were never included when the first 4 counties started, even though we share things with them. The 5th county got at it. We were never asked. But the 6th county was us. Do you know why they asked us to join?
Go ahead.
Because they wanted to use our 911 system as a backup. okay,
For redundancy.
for redundancy.
Correct.
But our
Makes sense.
system would be shared then by 5 other counties.
Correct.
That has cost Northumberland taxpayers $12.5 million.
So why would we walk away from that and go to Schuylkill?
Nobody said we're going to Schuylkill. We didn't even
Okay.
start a study with Schuylkill yet. And listen, the object of this whole thing isn't to go to Schuylkill. It's we have to move out of our building.
Understand?
And we have a place on our property at the lower end of the county next to the prison that is perfect for a 911 center. That would cost us nothing. We're now paying $100,000 plus the building's being sold.
I'm well aware of that, but I also understand that you just cannot turn your system off and move to another building. You
Oh, and
need-
that's why
you need a
we're
redundant backup.
doing the study to
Correct.
see how else we can do it.
There's a redundant
But
backup
nobody
that's
in this regionalization out of the other 5 counties are giving anything up. But all of a sudden, the 6th county, Northumberland County, they want us to give up our system and work with all the other counties and integrate it with all the other counties for free, even though our people have paid $10.5 million for it.
Give up or share?
Did
And
what?
give up or share and make
Well,
better?
it would be to share, but if we ever wanted it back, when I asked that question, each county would have a separate contract with us. And since they would have to pay to get all their radios and everything integrated, it's not going to be like, oh, well, we're not happy with what this is. We want to now get out and go somewhere else. It's sort of forever we would be there. Plus, if anything ever happened with regionalization, any vote, there would be 6 counties. Guess which county is going to be on the outs every time there's a vote? The same county that was asked last to join. That's my opinion.
Sure, that's your opinion.
So we
Correct.
got to do a study to find out. When the studies are done, then we will have everybody in and say, hey, if the northern end wants to stay with those and get involved, if that's the answer, I'm fine with that. You know, if the study comes back and says, leave them up there, but then you'll have to do what they tell you to do. You won't be able to come to meetings and speak here and say, here's what we'd like to do, and say, well, you're now involved with them.
We still run our own 911 center, correct?
Right now we do,
Okay.
yes.
And I think with the merger, that will still be the same.
Of course, and listen, I'm okay with doing the merger. You go to their meeting and tell them Northumberland County's 911 system costs $12.5 million. 5 counties, you want to pitch in and go 1/5 of that with us? I have no problem.
Mr. Chickatana, as we said, we're volunteers. We shouldn't be. We
I
shouldn't
know,
have to be
that's
doing
what,
this.
okay, so let me tell you, I told them that, and you know what they told me? No.
No.
Then I said, how about if you rent our system from us? You know what they told me? No. The other commissioners were there, they'll tell you the same thing.
So just to wrap this up, we go back and forth all day probably.
Yep.
And we probably shouldn't. Let's just hope that the studies do come back, and they are important. But if any of this comes true, the hearsay that's on the street that you referred to, let's hope it's a bad April 1st joke and that we can move forward in a positive direction.
Might come back and be a good solution, too. We will do nothing to not make our 911 system as effective or better than it is now. But we don't know the answer to that. Anyone else? Anyone else that wants to stay afterwards and talk? I have all the paperwork. I'll show you everything that we have looked into this for the past couple months. I don't think any taxpayer would like us to share a system that cost us, the taxpayers, $12.5 million, when Clinton County and other counties up there, Clinton got a system that cost them $0. I'm not sure anybody would want us to do that. But we'll see when the studies come back, and that's when we'll make a decision. And anyone that wants to stay to talk about it, we're willing to stay. I don't know if you guys want to say anything.
We had a rather lengthy discussion for an hour with 3 of the chiefs, and Mr. Funk, you were there. You were pretty much like the spearhead of the whole discussion, but many of the things you addressed in your prepared statement, we hashed over for an hour. Am I correct? We did. So a lot of those were answered when we had our pre-meeting meeting. We had the discussion, so which was really good, I thought. So, but as Commissioner Chickatana said, as things develop with all these studies, we're going to let everybody know, and we'll inform everybody of what's going on and what your thoughts are, and what direction we would like to go in. Okay, and your input's gonna be important with all that too, believe me. Because I'm not a firefighter. I live in Ralph Township, and I want to make sure, we're up to snuff with everything. And if I, God forbid, have to call something, I want to make sure we're getting the best service possible. So we'll look into everything, and we'll make sure we make a good, sound decision on whatever we do. Okay?
You will be part of that decision.
You will be part of it.
When we have questions, I mean, we don't even know what the studies are going to be. Maybe the study's going to stay by itself. But the one thing we have to do is get out of our building. And that's, we got to do that because it might not be there. They could tell us any time they get out. We signed a 2-year contract today, so we're hoping that in 2 years we can be somewhere. It might be with that, and by the way, so you know, that regionalization thing, we did pull out. We checked with Pima. We checked with them. We can decide to go back in at any time. The money that was allotted to Northumberland County, $1.6 million, will stay with Northumberland County. If we don't do that, we could use it in a different direction, and it will not hurt the 5 counties that are doing that in any way for funding, and it will not hurt us in any way for funding. So those things were all checked out with Pima. I was on the phone with them last week. We just want to do what's right, and right now we don't know what's right.
Just to add to that, we want to do what's best for Northumberland County. Everyone else at these tables is all talking about, from their perspective, they're doing the best for their counties. We want to do the same for Northumberland County. So we want to look at each one of these studies and make the best path forward for our county. So we need all this information to get there. So it's going to be 8 months, unfortunately, but hopefully once we get this information from the different providers who are doing the studies, we'll be able to make the best decision.
Again, anyone that would like to stay afterwards and talk, we can do that. Okay? Anyone else? Okay, the people with the proclamations, if you'd stay and would get those pictures. Thanks everyone for coming. Meeting's adjourned.